Aesthetic theories. These are the ways that people look at and think about art and decide if a work of art is successful. Before we start talking about the specific theories, you need to know about the properties of an artwork. First one is the subject. It's the main idea or the image in an artwork. It could be a person or people or a creature or an event such as a dance or a wedding. These are the subjects. Now, if it's a non-objective work of art, then the subject is the elements of art themselves. Second one, composition. This has to do with the way that the artist has used the principles of design to arrange the elements of art. In this one, for example, the artist has used line to create the illusion of movement. This painting is full of diagonal lines. You can see that the legs lead up to the bodies, to the torso, which is also a diagonal. The arms are diagonals. Everything in this painting is leading the viewer's eye to the lady in red, to her face specifically. All of these lines bring a person's eyes up to her face, which is the focal point of this painting. Also, light and color have been used. Value. Her dress is the one hit the most by the light. Her face is being hit by the light. It's got the most highlights. The third property is the content. And the content is the message that the artwork is communicating. And it could be a theme like patriotism or family togetherness, or it could be an emotion like sorrow or love or loneliness. It could be that you could tell what the artist intended for the artwork to communicate, or sometimes you can't quite tell, and you have to make that judgment yourself. Many artists could paint the same subject and yet have different messages or content just by the way that they paint it. For example, this painting is of buildings by a body of water. This painting is also of buildings beside a body of water. However, they both contain entirely different content or meanings, and the artist has done this by the use of color and lighting. Now let's look at the aesthetic theories. These are the ways that people evaluate or judge whether or not a work of art is successful, and different people have different ways of evaluating artwork. The first aesthetic theory is imitationalism. With this theory, the people are most concerned with the realistic presentation of the subject matter. It must look realistic, and the more realistic it looks, the better it is. For example, this painting, Arrangement in Gray and Black, number 1, by James Whistler, 1871, is a painting of a woman. It looks like a woman. It's proportioned correctly as a human. There's a picture on the wall. She looks as if she is real. So this would be a successful painting using the aesthetic theory of imitationalism. The next aesthetic theory is formalism. This is concerned with the composition and the effective use of the elements of art and principles of design. Did the artist create an effective composition? In this case, this is composition with large red plain, yellow, black, gray, and blue by Piet Mondrian, 1921. In this composition, the artist has used line and color to pull the viewer's eye around the painting to the focal point, which is the large red square. He used size, proportion, color, and line. Therefore, this one would be successful with formalism. The next aesthetic theory is emotionalism, and this concerns how well the artwork evokes an emotional response. In order for an artwork to be successful, according to this aesthetic theory, it has to make someone feel an emotion, or it must express an emotion. For example, this painting, the title is Joy. And if a person looks at it and can see the children with their head thrown back, eyes squinched up, mouths wide open laughing, then it would be successful under the Emotionalism aesthetic theory. There's another aesthetic theory that has to do with the usefulness of an object. This is functionalism. So if an object is created to be used, such as a chair or a shoe, in order for it to be successful under the aesthetic theory of functionalism, it must be something that could be worn or function as footwear on an everyday basis. So just looking cool or interesting is not enough for it to be successful with the aesthetic theory of functionalism, though it might be considered successful using one of the other aesthetic theories.